Hi, I'm Sarah Jane from Natural Heating, and today I'm going to do a video review and take a closer look at the Dean Forge Dartmoor series of stoves. That's the Dartmoor W5, which is a slimline widescreen model, which is behind me, still 5 kilowatt, and a smaller, more compact 5. They also do an 8 and then also higher versions of the same stove and ones with ovens. Typically the same bodies though, so it's just the same thing but taller. Anyway, let's take a closer look, will we? These are handmade in Devon by a small company which really work as an artisan type team, and this really truly shows because the stoves are stupidly solid, heavy build quality. They run beautifully. They're the sort of stove that is going to last forever or near enough, and you really do know the difference when you handle one because they weigh an absolute flipping ton. Solid. They're built to last. They're really good value for money. They perform well on short chimneys, long chimneys. They draw easily. The parts are easy to take out. They never give me any trouble. Deans typically manufacture to order and are only available via your stockists. We are a Dean Forge stockist, and I keep a number of their models in stock. You possibly may have seen my Woodbury 5 video before that I've done. That's a nice stove. We've also got the Croft, which I haven't done yet, which will be coming up fairly soon, with any luck, when I get around to it. But of the Dean models, I would say that the Dartmoor is likely my best seller. It's available as both a multi-fuel or as a wood burner. Okay, so this is the W5, which is the wider, taller version, 640 millimeters high, I believe, versus 540 on the smaller standard 5. The two that I've got looked out here at the moment are wood burners, which have got a nice big wide firebox for the size of the unit, and you burn on a bed of ash in the inside. So we'll put a couple of little logs in there and we'll get this one lit up while we take a closer look at the other models. So what you'll find is this cambered edged fuel retainer is really good for fuel retention, and your log just cannot roll out the inside. I'm going to put a nice little pile of kindling in here and throw a fire layer in and some more kindling on top. Nice high pile. Blowtorch. Oh, not having much luck today. I'm absolutely filthy, and I've already been scared witless by a squirrel a few minutes ago that was in the office. I might shut that in for you as well because it was kind of funny. It didn't know which way to go. I didn't know which way to go, and we kind of had a bit of a standoff in the doorway. So anyway, you've got two air controls, one at the bottom, which is dial, and typically you don't really need to use for burning wood, and then a lever that controls your top air, which is very simple and easy to get to. So it's not too low down, it's at a good height, and that is on your top right hand side. I'm going to leave the door slightly ajar while this gets going and gets up to temperature. There's another control. Can you see it? Just there, right at the back. That one there. What you do with that one is you only touch it if you're burning wood or coal, depending which one you burn. So it goes in the way for wood, and you pull it out when you're burning smokeless fuel. So we're not using smokeless fuel, so I'm just going to leave that alone. That is your tertiary air intake. We only need that one. We only need to operate that one if we're burning smokeless fuel. So these can either size. There you go, there's the two together. You can see there's quite a bit of height difference from the smaller 5 to the wide 5. These have a built-in heat shield on the base on all of the Dean Forge stoves from 2022 onwards. So everything that's equal 2022 can all sit on a 12mm hearth. Now, interestingly, the big one When you fit a double heat shield, they have a single heat shield as standard, but when you fit a double heat shield, it can go as close as 50mm to combustible walling. Now this is heat-proof boarding, so it doesn't count, but when you put another heat shield on the back, you can go very, very close to combustibles with this model. And with a double heat shield, I think off the top of my head without looking it up, it's about 130mm clearance on this one, which is still very, very good. Right, so this is the difference in a multi-fuel. This particular one that I've got on the shelf here is a multi. And on the multi, what you have is you have a fitted coal grate and ashpan system. Nice big ashpan there, easy to lift out. And inside there are fuel reducing blocks that you put in for when you're burning smokeless fuel, so that you can get away with burning less and keep the coals more centralised in the middle. So basically you end up losing about 3 inches of firebox height, because in the wood burner you'd be burning on the base with that chamfered edged log retainer, and you're burning 3 inches higher because you've got the grate and the ashpan, so you've not got as much fire vision. Let me just grab a log and show you. Here's a small one, standard one, kiln dry log. That's got to be about 4-inch diameter, and these are 10 inches long. So in the multi-fuel, I just got a scalp, that stung a bit. Right, in your multi-fuel, the wood is sitting on top of the grate. Okay, so the main part of your fire is going to be from the top of that bar to the top. So typically we actually sell far more wood burners because your wood sits straight on the base. So your wood is then sitting at that height, level with the bottom of the door, which gives you a bigger fire vision. Now it's only been a couple of minutes with the door slightly ajar and my fire is roaring away in here. It's taking off at a speed of knots. Danes always do. They're dead easy to light and they come up to temperature really quickly. Now, it's literally only been 2 or 3 minutes and I can feel the heat coming out of this already. We put a small log on the top to make our fire sandwich. My bottom logs are already catching fire, so I can shut the door. So the Dartmoor 5 models, whether it be the standard 5 or the 5 wide, are both DEFRA approved for being able to burn in smokeless zones, and they have 5-inch collars on the top and rear outlets. The 8 kilowatt version, Dartmoor 8, has a 6-inch flue outlet. They've got adjustable legs on all 4 feet. I'm going to get a little palette, but I'll try and have a look. Into the warehouse we go. Right. Just in case I want to turn it over. Righty-ho, so the Dartmoor 5 as a wood burner is slightly different to the W5 in the front, and that the log retainer bar is more upright compared to more sloped. So these new stoves just take the packing pieces out the inside. We'll take the fuel retainer out, and you can see that this is really simple build in the inside. So you've got a baffle plate, some more squeaky polystyrene on top. Now, can I do this with one hand? Might if we turn the phone around. No, we need to go higher. Alright, so I've balanced the phone on the sofa. And what I'm going to do is just take a lining panel out and show you, you can just drop the baffle down. Now the baffles in these are superb because they're vermiculite, but they've also got a very heavy, very thick, that's got to be at least 4mm I would say, steel casing on the baffle. And that steel casing protects the vermiculite, so you'll get a long wear time out your baffles. I don't know any of the other manufacturers really that do them like this, because not only do they come out very well, but they're extremely well protected, because vermiculite is a very fragile material. Then there is a secondary baffle, so I will just take this other lining piece out, and then my secondary baffle at the top. How do I get that? It's quite easy, you just need to remember to breathe and take your time and line it up properly. Right, there we go. So they're all simple, straightforward pieces with these. If you wanted to, in the more modern one, there's no reason you could cut most of those by hand. And there's my back liner. So there's now no guts in this unit because I've pulled them all out. So when you see inside, hello, right through the flue, it's dead easy to clean and service. No problem at all. Loads of clearance. And that is one of the beautiful and easy things about Dean Forge stoves. Just make them really user friendly, really easy. So I'm holding this phone with one hand and putting the panels back in with the other. Just me, there's nobody else here. Now, the trickiest one is the top baffle, but it's really not that bad. It's just lining it up right to get past the little grooves, and then it flips up. I can't quite do this one with one hand. Right, it's back in, but I couldn't do it one-handed. I needed two hands for that. I'm sure you'll forgive me. So one line and panel in, then the other line and panel in. Edge to the side. Oh. That way. The baffle. See, if I can do this with one hand, it's no problem, but I need two hands to put the other side in because I need to hold it with the other hand. So, as you can see, it is one of these simplest stoves to strip and put back together. See, your fitter's never going to have any problem servicing, because one of the most annoying things is stoves that have got the baffles bolted on the inside or a damn nuisance to get out to service, because not only can you break bricks when you get taking them out of most stoves quite easily for servicing, they can just be a right fiddle and time consuming. Or if they're bolted in ones and the bolt sees, it's horrible if you strip a thread or it all goes wrong. Now, I've not been doing this very long. This is really welling out the heat. It's not fully up to temperature yet. I can still see a bit of deposit in the inside of the firebox, but I've only been maybe about 6 or 7 minutes and I'm getting warm, and I'm going to take my coat off and stuff. So while we're here, we might as well just show you the stove collar. And the stove collars are also dead easy on these. They go in with a piece of double-sided sticky tape underneath, the heatproof stove tape, and just nestle nice and tight into the top surface. They bolt from the bottom up. They've also got a test point for flue draw, pre-drilled with a grub screw into the collar, which is always a nice thing to have. And typically we would normally fit that with the test point fitting backwards so you don't see it and you're not looking at it. But they're dead easy put in. I mean, I fitted this one myself last night, ready for this morning. So this is the smaller one, which is in front of me, and you'll see that this is a Dartmoor 5, with a black handle. You can have a stainless handle as an optional extra. And this particular stove was manufactured on the 4th of January 2024. Open the packet with one hand. And one of the lovely things that they do is every single stove is manually checked by one specific person that's built this stove, that they've checked everything from the edges, the sliders, the data tags, absolutely everything has been quality control checked. And I have to say, I have never had any quality control issues with Dean Forge. Not one. They've never given me any trouble. I mean, they've quality control checked everything, right down to the sticker on the door. And they genuinely are made 100% in Great Britain, down in Devon. And if you look Dean's up, you'll even find they've been on TV on various different programmes, and you can go and visit them down there too. I think they've got a cafe and stuff on site as well. I was hoping to go down there a couple of weeks ago because they had an open day for dealers. But unfortunately, things going on at home just meant that I was unable to attend, which is a real shame. But hey, another time, another day. They're lovely people down there, family-run company, and they're just always a pleasure to deal with. Nothing's too much hassle if you ever need to phone them for extra assistance. And as a dealer, we know that if I ever needed help, I just need to phone them and ask, and the questions are answered. It's very rare I'm going to actually need them to step in and do anything, because it's never happened yet, and I've been doing Dean stoves for probably a good 10 years now, I would guess. Maybe longer, I'm not quite sure, quite a long time. So I've done enough of them to know that they just don't give me any trouble. I'm officially hot, the jacket is off. Fire is burning nicely. I've got the bottom air vent a sniff open. This will get hot. But it's been a sniff open just to get the stove lit and up the temperature. And I don't need that open now, so I'll turn it down. The handle's going to get hot too, because it's just that type of handle. I can forgive it that. It's a very traditional looking stove, but with a very nice big modern door. So the operating tool that is provided with this stove has a notch in it for controlling the air vent, so you don't need to touch it if you need to adjust it when it's hot. And it has another notch in it for the air control at the top, which I've got a bit back to front, and that just hooks in there. Now you can actually hear the difference already when I alter this. That was just the kindling, which is still on the top, and those couple of small kiln dried logs that I put in to get it going. Whew, it's welling the heat out. But I'm going to try and hold this and alter the heat output at the same time. We've not got a proper fire really going in there yet, but I don't know if you can hear it. You can hear the air adjust and it really slow down. This is going to get hot too. So it is the most simple air control realistically that you're going to find, and for a lot of people, especially those older amongst us, it's a very accessible air control. So it's very easy to move by hand, although you will need a glove. And it's nice and up high, not way down near the floor where you can't get to it, so you don't need to bend down too much. You'll see it lets plenty air in on both sides, so you operate one side and it affects both sides, both left and right. This is your diff stop that allows more air into the firebox. If you were to take that piece of pin out, it will shut down a lot further, but that's what keeps it clean burning. And you would have to be on a 6-inch flue system for that. Now I can start to smell the paint because it's starting to heat up, but really it's welling out a lot of heat out in here already. It's not down to ember yet, it's not really due a new load, but I'm going to ramp this up and put some more fuel in it so we get a nice good flame going. As I said, this handle is getting warm. It's not hot yet because this hasn't been going very long. You can see there's no spillage out the front of that at all, even with a reasonable amount of fuel in there. And I really like this sloped fuel retainer bed because the fuel just isn't going to fall out or roll. And the capacity of this firebox is good because this is 10-inch logs that I'm putting in here. And although it's a 5 kilowatt stove with an average of a sort of 3 to 8 kilowatt heat output, don't underestimate this. This is a bigger stove, although it's only a 5 kilowatt, and it really can. Okay, so I've put another couple of logs in and it's burning just lovely. Those logs are just starting to take, but as you can see, it's burning really steady and cleanly on minimum air. So I've got the air turned down. So what I am going to do, if it's backwards compared to what I'm looking at, is just flip this air control open, and my fire is going to immediately start to pick up as soon as it increases the air into the firebox. It just takes about 5 seconds or so. So yeah, your Dartmoors are very, very simple, but very clever and very robust put together little stove. There is your reed exit heading down the back. So you just punch this plate out. To be able to access it. And then you can put the flat plate on the top and the collar on the back if you want to reverse it round. There is no option on the Dartmoor models to be able to fit direct air. Probably because more people put them on more traditional houses than newer ones. The more traditional fireplace type of stove. Being 5 kilowatt, anything that was built before 2008 typically doesn't need an air vent anyway, so there's not the hugest amount of call for it. Now I've just flipped this one onto its back so you can see underneath. All 4 legs have nice big long adjusting bolts. And this is a bottom heat shield attached to the underside of the stove, which is why it can go on 12mm hearths, no problem at all. Your data plate with the information flips out from the front, just between the legs, which is a dead easy, but it's a dead easy place to put it. You can't see it from looking at the front of the stove, but it's easily accessible, which is far better than sticking it down the back, which some manufacturers still seem to insist on doing, where nobody can actually see it. One of the unusual things that Deans do is they do actually ship all their stoves to us flat on their back. So for us dealers, that can be both a blessing and a curse, really, because it means that storage is a bit of a nightmare. Everything really has to go up on racks, and that's all Deans up on those racks. I can only stack them really too high, so there's 7 there now on that shelf, but I can get up to 12 on that shelf, and then some more up the top. But they're a pain to lift in and out. I was going to show you one on its back, but I've already done away with all the boxes and I haven't got another one down. But basically, they're lying on the back with the glass facing up, which makes them secure. It's just the fact that really they need housed on shelving, and they don't do well for me in piles on the floor. I can't stack some of this other stuff. We can pile them up nice and high and it makes things easier. I can't do that with Deans the same. It's just impossible to get them in and out. All in all though, they really are good, solid, really heavy duty, beautiful quality build, British made. So this is starting to smell as it's getting up to temperature. I'm going to have a sit on the sofa and watch it. Bad place to be. Anyway, from this height, now it's getting up to temperature, you're getting a nice view of the firebox, and you can see just how much glass and fire vision we have here. Because with your logs sat down really low, gives you all that height in the firebox. And I like the fact that it's quite a traditional looking stove, and that the logs it's impossible for them to roll inside the firebox. They just can't roll out. I'm going to turn, now she's burning nicely and up to speed, I'm going to turn the air control down so you can see what we do. Maybe I should put... Right, this is welling in the heat out. I mean, I'm at a good distance away from it. Woo! My legs are getting toasty. It's on full top air and no bottom air. The bottom air is shut off, so it's top air only. And I'm just going to turn the air down. Oops. It's a big stove. It's got a lot of oxygen to burn off in that firebox, but it's coming into check quite nicely. On fresh fuel. It just takes a minute or so to stabilise and burn off the oxygen that's in there, because that's a lot of air in that firebox for the size of it. It's not the slowest stove, and it's not the fastest stove, but a lot of your heat output is always going to be down to how much fuel you put in the door. The more fuel you put in, the more heat you get out, and this can take a good 3 logs. Typically, you really only need 1 and only reload on red embers. So don't put too many in it if you don't want too much heat. But I would say this 5 kilowatt wide could easily probably do up to about 9 kilowatt. I'm a good couple of meters away at the moment, sat on the sofa. And I'm baking. I'm really baking. So it does throw the heat out fast, and it's double insulated fire bricks in the wide one, singles in the smaller one. There's a lot of heat on a small fire. You won't be disappointed with these. Right, I'm rather warm, but this is up to temperature now, and it's burning lovely and bright, lovely and clean, nice and stable. Not too fast, not too slow. They've got it just right. It's a classical looking stove with a big fire picture. It's very traditional looking, solidly built, seriously solidly built, rattles the heat out. And it's got a glorious, great big fire view. It looks super whether you're burning 1 log or you're burning 3. And it's got a huge amount of heat output should you need it, although it's a 5 kilowatt. Even the small one can rattle the heat out, although it's just small. It gives a lot of heat for the size of the stove. And it's a real nice slimline body with a very shallow depth on it. So if I get time, I'll burn this again tomorrow, but I'm also hoping to burn it on install when it goes in the next couple of weeks, and actually show you it. Alright, so this is the morning after the night before. I burnt this for a couple of hours, maybe-ish yesterday, and I'm going to light it up again today and bake the rest of the paint on. But as you can see, that glass from yesterday is beautifully clean, and I have not touched this. I am going to light it again this morning, but Deans just do what Deans do well, and that was left burning to bake some of the paint on lower air, but still nice and hot last night, and he's just good at his job. That's all I can say, really. It's a very slimline stove. The actual body casing on this is 27 centimetres deep from leg to leg. Overall, it's 320 millimetres, and the smaller Dartmoor 5 is just the same. I'm going to get this up on the shelf in just the next few minutes. Both of them are the same depth on these 2 units, on the Dartmoor 5 wide and the standard 5. It's just the height that's different. So the wide version is 565 millimetres wide, and the narrower one is 430. There's also 4 inches or 100 mil less in height, so the bigger one being 640, the shorter one's 540 mil height. So there is a considerable difference. But yeah, they're nice units. Available in a range of different colours. Deans will paint what you want to lots of different colours. See? Now, I don't like firecracker red. Firecracker red to me looks kind of metallic-y pink. It's not for me. The Mojave red is quite pretty. The Dory blue is gorgeous. Dory, that's a blue one in the picture. It kind of looks black from here, but that's a black flue and a blue stove. It's not. The blue is a really beautiful colour. It's a really soft colour. It's probably my favourite if you were to have a coloured stove. But they have to be painted specially to order. They do a lovely catalogue as well. The new catalogue is beautiful. Even the paper is gorgeous on these. So, just to let you see, after a good burn yesterday, the glass is beautifully clean on that unit. There's no residual deposit. I was burning good kiln dried wood, birch that is. Firebox is back to being nice and clean on the inside. Decent amount of ash, not too much. This is mainly chunky ember. I had it on minimum air when I left last night. There's not actually much ash. Most of that will burn again because the rest of it is chunky bits that have got a little residual burn on there. So we're just going to light it up again.